just posted, this weekend's, whatever you want to call it, the most recent episode of Tedium Unlimited, and that should normally get me by for several days. In fact, I'm getting ready to go to bed. But I fired up the Raspberry Pi because I got a new mouse for it. And it turned out it wasn't the Apple mouse that was getting me in trouble. It was my white desk was not working with the the mouse laser. So put a pad down and it works. It works okay. And I did nothing with the Raspberry Pi the other day. I just installed it and booted it, and it goes, yep, it booted. And then I shut it down and turned it off and went back to what I was doing. But I thought, well, I'll try to get it on the wireless network because it does have a built-in wireless. So I did that, and then to test the wireless network, I went to a web page. I went to the BBC, and when I got to the BBC, there was confirmation of a rumor that I've heard for a week or so, and earlier I saw a teaser that came through the official Doctor Who YouTube channel, but there in bigger than life and twice as wonderful was the news that they are going to animate the 1960s episode of Doctor Who that was wiped, called The Power of the Daleks. Now, I hate Dalek stories because the Daleks are just dull and disinteresting, but it can't be stressed too much that The Power of Daleks is possibly one of the most influential episodes of Doctor Who ever in existence, because it is the first episode with Patrick Troughton. So William Hartnell's Doctor regenerated, and they have a fair amount of that story, but that was gone too. They recreated the final episode of it so that we could see it, but Power of the Daleks completely gone, every episode wiped, but they do have the soundtrack, and they have decided against all odds to animate the entire story so that for the very first time we will be able to see an approximation of what the original story was like. And that is just phenomenal news. And it's coming out November 21st on DVD, which is the day after my birthday, which is also good. So I'm really, really excited about this, even if it is Daleks. This is just documentary proof that I have allowed ChuWan to drive my car once. You mean twice? Just the once. Definitely just the once.
That's go. Yay.
So you got to do it with the other hand. It's otherwise it's two. Actually, this is not two, but anyway. And James is back there too, but I'm not letting him drive it. Although, if you keep it 7 years, still in good shape, he'll be 18, assuming he's got all straight A's and a full scholarship to MIT, I might give him the car. Yep.
You were saying that we'll go to Michelle first.
Well, no, 7 years, she'll be off in college before it runs out of its warranty. So maybe she can have a Sienna. Alright. Well, that's it. This is her one and only drive. Because I'm gonna have to put the seats and the mirrors back, and it's too much of a pain. That's why. We're walking in a different park tonight. We're trying out Granada Park. It's about 4 or 5 miles from the house, but it's in a sort of secluded, overpriced neighborhood where snooty people live. So that amuses me even more. It's got 2 small man-made lakes, well, ponds really, and well, can't really see a whole lot of it because it's dark. It's another early morning Pokemon hunt. James and I this morning, Everyone else is too lazy to get up and get out, get some exercise. And of course James can't drive himself here, so I had to do it. Otherwise I'd be sleeping in too.
Hey! It's been a while. I didn't do much shooting this weekend. I didn't do much shooting during the week. It's been one of those weeks. Meant to do something yesterday, then something came up, and it was one of those weekends. I'm gonna rant. I'm gonna rant about, I don't know, 3 things. It just depends on how long this thing ticks over. I'm gonna try to keep it a little under 40 minutes. One, I got the tags for my car this weekend, but I don't have a plate for my car. Now, in Arizona, it used to be that when you sold a car, the plate went with the car, but now the plate goes with the owner, but supposedly at the dealership, they told me that was not true if the plate was basically out of renewal. And mine was due to come up in September, which is one of the impetus for buying a car now rather than re-registering that one and then going on, which actually makes no sense at all, because if we had done that, then we would still have the plate and the prorated amount. So that was a false situation. But anyway, I don't have a plate, so I still have no plate to put on the back of my car, and now I'm wondering if they're actually going to send me one or if I'm going to have to get in a fight over it. And I do need to look at the tags, because apparently the tags now are tied with the plate number, and I can find out if it's my old Hyundai's plate number or whether it's some new plate number, which I've not seen. So that's one, just an annoyance. Second one, the boneheads who are working on my house. Yes, that's right, I call them boneheads, despite the fact that the work done so far has been of an acceptable quality. The fact is that they're not doing work. They still haven't painted my office, which is why this desk is still here, because I'm not going to tear my desk down until I know when they're coming out to paint this room, because why should I do that? Not last week, but the week before that even, the Friday on back. So we'll work that out here as we go along. I sent them an email saying, hey guys, when are you going to come out and do the painting? Now, they had previously told me that the painting would take 1 day. So I was, it said, well, it'd be great if you could do it on a Wednesday, but if you can't do it on a Wednesday, I'm available on other days. You just have to give me some, warning. For that matter, I'd like warning if you're coming out on a Wednesday. But that was Friday, and I didn't hear anything back from them until Tuesday, when they called up and said, yep, we can come out tomorrow. And I'm like, nope, you can't come out tomorrow because it looks like I'm going to have to be at the office. Turned out I didn't, but the point is that I couldn't. I said, well, can you come out next Wednesday, which would have been this past Wednesday? And they said, oh, no, they're busy. Well, maybe Thursday or Friday I could look into it. I said, great, do that. As long as you give me advance warning, that would be terrific. Well, of course, come Friday, they hadn't contacted me to do that. So, no. And here it is Monday now, end of business day, and they haven't contacted me about coming out this week. And I'm busy next week on Wednesday, so I'm getting a little annoyed. But more importantly, my insurance adjuster case handler is getting annoyed because they sent him a bill for stuff, which, fine, they've done stuff and bill, etc. But the important part is that they billed him for jacks. Now, admittedly, there was some jacks, and that was part of the deal, but they billed him for a lot longer rental on the jacks because it took them a lot longer to get the brickwork done than they thought, and for more jacks because of that bit where the thing came down and they had to bring out more emergency jacks. So they're charging him more for what could be considered their screw-up. So he wasn't happy about that. He contacted me Friday and was asking me questions about how well they've been doing, and I gave him frank answers. So it seems likely that somebody's been chewed out. And so that's that. I don't know where we are. I haven't got it. But I did get approval to get my floor replaced, so yay. But now the question is, will it be these guys doing it, or will the insurance company say, no, we're not allowing that. We're going to get somebody else to do the job right. So I don't know about that. And then finally, this organization I belong with, I'm not going to name any names, but this organization that I'm associated with is comprised of people all over the country who all are passionate and well-meaning and about this organization and about its future. And there's been a little bit of a rough patch there, but really not a terrible one, and everyone sees it as an opportunity to kind of get in there and maybe tweak some things and make some changes so that A, these things don't happen again, and B, we can push forward. And I want to kick ass all over the place because it is just the most politically hateful, spiteful group of pig-headed people who cannot see the forest for the trees in front of them right at the moment, and it is driving me nuts. And so I declared a moratorium on them this past weekend, and I said, I'm not listening to you, I'm not taking your emails, I'm not taking your calls, I'm not taking your Facebook messages, I've turned off Slack so you can't contact me that way. I'm out of this. I don't want to hear anything for a few days because I need the de-stressing. And, there's like one group of people that are like, think they're so clever that they're moving the little pieces on the table, and they are as subtle as, I don't know what they're as subtle as. They're as subtle as the least subtle thing you can think of, and they think they are so clever. They are not. And they think they are so good, and they are not. And then at the other end, we do have the forces of, gosh, I think that the way things are good too, and it's neither of those positions, and it's really bugging the crap out of me. So that one is, I needed the stress release of just saying, not gonna do it. Anyway, that's almost it. Oh, made both kids cry yesterday. I'm very proud of myself. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that doesn't seem like the thing to be proud about, but it is, because I would argue that throughout my life I have had several heroes, and I'll admit most of them are fictional. I don't see, oh, Abraham Lincoln, he's my hero. Nothing like that. I mean, we're talking about fictional heroes that stand for ideals and things. And above all of them, above standing heads and above all of the others throughout my entire life, Captain Kirk. And of course, I mean real Kirk, not new reboot universe Kirk. I mean proper, original Star Trek Kirk. Intelligent, compassionate, believer in the cause, of believing, of doing what's the right thing, even if it's the hard thing. And that's just been possibly the single most important moral compass in my life. And the reason I say that is because, of course, I want to be able to instill the same kinds of beliefs in my children, within reason of letting them think for themselves. But in other words, you have the values that you value, but it's not like when I was a kid, when Star Trek was on every day after school and you came home and watched it. It's not like that. We don't even have TV here. I mean, we have a TV, but we do not receive any public television broadcasting of any kind. We get it all through Blu-ray, and you're not, even I don't come home and put on the Star Trek Blu-ray every day. It's just you don't do that because that's not the way we watch television anymore. So I have, of course, run the kids all the way through Star Trek, and we're working on Next Generation, although, to be fair, they've pretty much lost interest in Next Generation as being a bit on the boring side. But that's another story. And, James is still plowing through it. Michelle is just like, Anyway, yesterday, this past week's been the 50th anniversary of Star Trek. We watched the first episode of Star Trek on the day, etc. But this weekend, we pushed on, because I have held off showing them the Next Gen movies until after they'd finished Next Gen. But they're close enough now. They're within 20 episodes of the end of Next Gen. And so I thought, I want to watch Star Trek Generations. And we watched it. And, of course, at the beginning, they have that bit where Kirk is lost in space and looks like he's dead. And the kids were a little upset, but they were not fooled by that. They knew he was going to come back later, which is good because they're smart enough to get it. But when they killed him at the end, it absolutely devastated James. I mean, he rolled over on the sofa and was sobbing uncontrollably. And Michelle was just basically wrapped herself up in a blanket and was disguising how incredibly depressed she was at the situation. I did not actually expect that. But that the death of a character could move them like that. It moved me when it happened. Originally seeing it at the theater. It's one of only 2 times I've ever said I brought a tear to my eye at a movie in my life. One was when Kirk died, and the other was in Star Trek Search for Spock when the Enterprise died. That one surprised me too. I got a cheer when it looked like Chekhov was going to die in the original. But anyway, that's it. Star Trek's 50th anniversary this weekend. Kids crying. That's a good thing, actually, because it shows they care. It shows they care. They have feelings. They're not Vulcans. All right. Until next time, when hopefully I'll have something interesting to say. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe.
Bugger. Another one of the drives is out again.